Boom. Yep. It's the package right there. Oh yeah. Y'all can see it. What's up, family? It's your guy Tony, and you are now tuned in with your boy. And what we are about to talk about in this video today is designing a technical drawing, which also goes by the name of a tech pack. A much cooler name to say. I like you saying tech pack. Sounds a little cooler, especially more industry term, right? So a lot of times you'll use this when you level up to the level of getting your products made overseas. And what this is going to do is let your vendor, your supplier know exactly what you're looking for. You guys know I love breaking down the facts, so let's break down what exactly a technical drawing is. So a tech pack is simply a document containing all the technical information about your product. It is essential, keyword essential, document for letting both designers and production teams understand when producing new collections. So it helps clearly communicate every level of detail about what you're making to your manufacturer. So this is big because when you're making clothes, you may say, hey, I want this varsity jacket. I want the zipper to be gold. I need to have a pocket that has Velcro on it so that it opens up a certain way. I need my logos on the chest to be embroidery, the sleeves to be sublimation, and the sizing of all of that. And when you don't send tech packs and you just send ideas through text messages, you'll pay for a sample through Alibaba or whichever vendor it is, and then it comes back not exactly what you're expecting. But who can you really be mad at when you didn't give your vendor, supplier, manufacturer the exact details and specifications of what you were looking for? So in today's video, what we're going to do is literally walk through my process of creating a tech pack or technical drawing so you can see the elements that are needed. So before you make a tech pack, you're going to need a few things. One, hopefully you are versed in Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator. If not, you could actually draw your technical drawings out and send it to a service that I use all the time called Fiverr.com. And for under $100, they can produce a well-documented technical drawing that you can send to your supplier, manufacturer, or vendor. But I want you to have your logos available. I want you to have your ideas available. And let's jump into the computer so you can see how I put these things together. I'll catch y'all in 1 second. All right, guys. So when I first start coming up with a technical drawing or a tech pack, the first thing that I do is just figure out exactly what I want to do. So in today's video, what's really popular right now is varsity jackets, and what we're going to do is make a varsity bomber jacket. So it's going to be a really cool project, so let's jump in and you'll see what I got going. So my first step is I like to use something like Adobe Stock or Shutterstock, or if you have any vector subscription services, they usually always, I know for a fact, they always have like a vector drawing of what I'm looking for. So I'll come in here and type in bomber jacket vector. And a little hack that you could do is type in like bomber jacket vector free, just to see if you can find one for free. So if you see the one that I'm looking at right here, this is a perfect example. So I've already downloaded this, but I'm going to re-download it for the video purposes. It's an Adobe Illustrator file. So let me open that up. And today we're going to be designing something for my brand, Historically Black Apparel, and just going through the process of usually what goes on while we're doing this. So that's opening up right now. Let's see where it's at. Got Illustrator opening. Cool. So I now have my file opened up here. And in Illustrator, what I actually like about it so much, like I use Photoshop and Illustrator all the time. But with Illustrator, I can literally highlight my image. I can go object and expand my appearance. And then what that allows me to do when I select my magic wand, I can click on a single color and change it to, you know, whatever color I want. So now you see like the jacket has turned red. So I kind of got like this burgundy red going on, but I want the jacket to be black. Usually what I'll do is do like a lighter black just to show the difference between the zippers and the lines, and just to show that texture. So if you could see in this area right here, you can still see the collar, the stitching, the pockets. And I know this is the shape of the jacket that I want. So this is a good mock-up right here. Now I'm like, all right, let's make this jacket a little bit cooler. I'm gonna make my zippers gold. And since I expanded it in Photoshop, it should let me just change them, yes. So now you see if I back out, the zipper is gold. I also need to make sure that I make the other zippers the same so that they're congruent with the product. I'm gonna zoom in here. And that's kind of the best part about Illustrator, is really how you can just get down in there on a vector file versus when you're messing with a Photoshop file, it's more bitmap. So it's more imagery, but Photoshop's amazing too, but they're all different weapons that are used at different times. So now you see we got this gold zipper in here looking really nice. I'm like, all right, how can I come up with something? This is gonna be a Tuskegee Red Tails jacket that we're gonna create. So I actually still, use Fiverr to get stuff vectored out. So what I'm gonna do is type in Tuskegee Red Tails. And I'm just gonna start seeing what's available online. For instance, I know that Tuskegee Red Tails came out with the movie that was super popular, right? Years ago. So I see this movie cover, and what I'm gonna do is open this in a new tab. That one actually wasn't a good one. I'm gonna try to screenshot a little bit of the logo that I need. And what you always wanna do is find a picture that is high in pixels. What you can also do is just go at the top of Google Images, hit Tools, Sizing, and Large. But large images are what we always want. Gives us more real estate to work with. So now we see this Red Tails right here. On a Mac, I'm gonna hit Shift Command 4. I am going to screenshot that right there. Now let me go back into my technical drawing that I'm working on right now. And I'm gonna open up this file. So right now, I'm not worried about the actual production files. Right now, I'm just focused on the idea coming together. So I'm gonna do an image trace in Illustrator right here. And what that is gonna do is give me a vector version of this. But once I'm completed and satisfied with my design, I'm actually gonna take these images and send them off on Fiverr to get vectored, which will be the production files that I actually send off to my vendor. Once I trace that, it's not gonna always come out pretty, but I'm gonna select the 3 color, and then I've got something that at least I can use, right? So I'm gonna click on my magic wand and click on all the colors I don't want. It just got rid of those. So now I've got my Red Tails logo. And what I'm gonna do is add that to the bottom. And the design's gonna come together because I already see it in my head, but I know I'm like, okay, I want something big and gaudy looking. I want, a jacket that's like, wow, that really means something right there. So as I'm doing my research, I'll go back to Google for whatever topic. You can use these same principles, guys. And I'll type in Red Tails. So then I'm like, let's see what I can find. Red Tails logo. This looks like an official logo. I like this right here. You got this. But what I like about this one is I like the plane, and it looks like it's more in motion. It looks a little bit more military. So this is the one that I'm gonna use. So let me open this image up in a new tab, and then I'm gonna save that as a PNG, download that. I'm gonna bring that file back into my Illustrator file, and then we're gonna image trace that again at 6 colors. And like I said, guys, it's gonna be muddy, it's gonna be cloudy looking, your designs, but this is just your technical drawing to just give the idea of what the design is gonna look like. But I'll show you how to get the finished products afterwards. So after you do an image trace, always expand, click your magic wand, get rid of the colors that you don't need. So this background is red, but there's also red in the design. So I'm just gonna click on the outside to get rid of it there and get rid of it there. So now I have like my main logo that says Tuskegee Red Tails P-51 Mustang. That's the plane that the Tuskegee Airmen used to fly. And for people who don't know what the Tuskegee Red Tails were, they were the first all-black military squadron that flew fighter jets in World War II. You know, very legendary, very historical. So it's a great jacket for my brand, Historically Black. And I'm gonna use this logo now as the main chest plate logo. That's gonna be like a left chest. And this is gonna be like 4 inches by 4 inches, but we're gonna do all the technical parts at the end of the lesson. All right, so I got that right there. To make it even more inspiring, what I always say do is, research what, you're making. So I'll go to Wikipedia right over here, and it says the Tuskegee Airmen were a group of primarily African-American military pilots and airmen who fought in World War II. Like I said, they formed the 332nd Expeditionary Operations Group and the 477th Bombarding Group of the United States Army Airmen. So let's say I type in that number, because that number probably means something. So Tuskegee 332nd. So I'm seeing that they use this in their clothing, right? So I'm like, okay, this is a number that resembles, the Tuskegee Red Tails, the Tuskegee Airmen. So let me find something that would work. So 332nd, right? So I say, okay, Red Tails 332nd. How can I incorporate that with my jacket that I'm making, right? So let me see. Tuskegee Red Tail. So what I'll also do if I'm making something, I'll go pull inspiration from other great people. So I'll say Tuskegee Red Tails t-shirts, just seeing what else is going on. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? All right, so I'm just looking, I see that logo that I used was a good logo. It's been used before. So now what I wanna do is I've confirmed that 332nd means something. So I'm gonna make a drawing over here, and I'm gonna write 332nd because I want something on the other side of the chest. So 332nd. In my head, I was like, I wanna use something military. So let's say if I'm trying to see if I have any stencil fonts. So I don't have any fonts that are like military, so this is what I'm gonna do now. I'm now gonna go to dafont.com, a great website to find free fonts. And I'm literally going to type in military in the search, see what I can find. All right, so military didn't really show me anything good, but you can look at the themes at the top, and I see one called Army, so even better. So let's see if I can find something, okay? Army didn't give me nothing, but stencil font is what I'm going for. So let's see if I type in stencil, if I get anything good. All right, this is kind of what I was looking for right here. So I'm gonna type in 332, and what it's gonna do is give me a preview of my fonts with what I wrote out, so I can make sure it looks good with what I'm going for. I don't really like any of these, so now what I'm gonna do is type in Army font military free in Google. This is another hack. Always type in free afterwards, because and then go to Google Images so you can see what it looks like. And this is the font that I'm looking for. Something like this, a basic Army font. So I'm gonna click on it, and it's on fonts2u.com, and I'm just gonna download it. Let me make sure I'm not a robot. Install my font real quick. It's called Army, simple as that. Double click it, install font. Super simple way to install your font on a Mac. Install, check, boom. And if you have a lot of fonts, you could actually just drag and drop it just like that. And that'll help you as well. All right, so now let me come over here, back to Illustrator, and we'll type in Army, perfect. And I think I wanna add something under it. So let's go ahead and move this over to the right chest, 332nd. And then I'm gonna put Airman under it, so it resembles. So people who are asking about what's 332nd mean, it's kind of saves the conversation a little bit. Well, directs the conversation. Because I love designing clothes that create conversation, but like I said, it directs it. So now it says 332nd Airman. I'll put Airman under there. And I purposely didn't put ND afterwards because I want the design to be clean. But when you're designing, sizing is always important. So you see how I can, if I made it like this, it's off kiltered. I want it to be like a box. So I'm gonna make sure my A, you see how that green line lines up right there? And then right over here, there's my other line. So 332nd Airman. So you see, we kind of already got something coming together right here. We got the gold zippers, red tails, but there's a lot of real estate still left over right here on the back, and real estate here as well. Also, if you have two designs that are parallel with each other, don't have them start from the bottom if they're not the same height. Make sure the middle meets together. So this circle design is bigger than the 332. So I got the 332 lined up right there through the middle. So let's go back to Google now and do some more research so we can figure out what to add to this. So I'm gonna go back and type in Tuskegee red tails, hit my images. Let's see what there is to offer. I know I wanna add like a big plane on the back. So I see this right here, right? But with jackets and embroidery, I can't really embroider it like that. So I have to find something that's a little bit more vector-based, kind of clip artist, so I can add. So let me put in Tuskegee Airmen. And I'm looking for something that stands out. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of graphics. So let me type in Tuskegee Airmen logo, because you want something that you can break down, remember? Boom. All right, guys, so another good place to find a lot of good graphics is Behance.com. So this is like graphic designers and a bunch of artists that come together. So I like to always pull inspiration from other people. So I'll come here and I'll type in Tuskegee red tails, because that's what we're designing. And I'll scroll through, but this caught my attention right here. So I don't want to like just bite or copy somebody, but like I said, I pull inspiration from other people. So I like this slogan, Legends of Aviation. So what we're going to do is now we're going to jump back and we're going to add that slogan. So red tails, we're going to add Legends of Aviation, and we're going to make that white so that it pops out in that same font. And a lot of times it's good to use similar fonts, guys, because you want those fonts to correlate to other pieces of the jacket. So if you see, we got the same font here, we got here. But let me show you what else I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to my stock site when I was using Adobe Stock. And you know those cool little fighter wings? I'm seeing that in my head. I'm gonna add those to the end of the tagline so it brings that whole aviation look together. So I've already downloaded these. Let me re-download them. I was playing with this design the other day, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna save this for my YouTube family and design it for them so they can, you know, see the breakdown. A lot of times when it's hard to click on stuff, guys, all you need to do is just expand it, or you can even just use this tool right here, and it's like a direct selection tool. Cause you see I'm pulling both of these right now, and that's not what I wanna do. So I'm gonna click on that. Then I'm gonna click cut or Command X, bring it back over here to my drawing. All right, so this has like a little swoop at the top, and we don't want that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna copy the one below it, make sure it's still in line, and you can grab that direct selection tool, highlight over the piece that needs fixing, and it'll literally just stretch that part. And I'm just gonna line it up with that. And then in Illustrator, like I said, I love how you can just delete parts. I'm gonna delete this extra piece that I don't need. And now I have my piece. So now as you see, we've got different elements already coming through for the jacket. Now it goes back to research. So I said, guys, when you're making great products, a lot of things are research. So what I'll do now is type in just bomber jacket. I wanna see other great bomber jackets and see what they've done, look at their style. So let me type in a airplane bomber jacket, because we're making something related to planes and aviation, right? So when I look at this, the thing I notice is these patches, right? So I really like these fighter patches, you know, the American flag, this and that. It makes it look very military-ish, and we want this jacket to look very authentic. So here's an example from Alpha Industries, and they make really cool jackets. So we're gonna draw inspiration from them, and we're gonna see what type of insignia or patches that we can add to this jacket. So if I go to Tuskegee Airmen, I'm gonna say Tuskegee Airmen badges. All right, so squadron patches of the Tuskegee Airmen. Cool, perfect. All right, so I see all of these and I'm like, perfect. I could just find these, do my research, and then add those there. So it says the top, it's literally giving me the patches I need. So I'll type in 301 first, boom. I see this patch right here. I'm gonna save it, go back to our drawing for PNG. And like I said, these aren't our official files. And I'm like, I'm gonna add that right there, go back. So I need to get this one, 100th fighter. Perfect, perfect. Boom, save that to my downloads, do the same exact thing. And I think what I'm gonna do is put them in an order. I'm also gonna image trace this to get some of that white background away. I'm gonna do 16 colors, but I know it's got a lot, expand, get that white background going. And looking at it, I see that their patches go from 99 to 102 in numbers. So I'm gonna actually try to put them in a numerical order. We're just gonna keep continuing this process, guys. Do our image trace again for 16 colors. And if I was like, doing this by myself, what I would also do is layer all of this stuff up just so it's easier for me to make changes. I'm gonna click on all three of these and move them in their own layer. That way, as I'm editing, I see I'm just on the sleeve. So we got one more patch to add to finish this sleeve off. And it was the 302nd Fighter Squadron logo. And that's this guy right here. So we're pretty much wrapping up the sleeve. We got the two chests done, and then now we're just gonna have to really work on the back. All right, I'm gonna expand that, delete it, delete that part. Boom, click on this. It's already in the right layer. All right, so now look at that sleeve. Imagine just how that will look once that's done, bringing that together. So we got this, I'm gonna have that embroidered, all of this embroidered. Make sure this is centered. I'm gonna bring this over into its own layer too, the back. And what you can do is just copy and paste these into the layer. Just to give us more room. Another thing, guys, when you click on something and you go to your layers, if you see it clicked right here, that shows you what you're clicked on. So that's helpful as well. And then now I just gotta find these, which is 1, 2, 3. Bring that into there. And I hope you guys are learning. I'm not boring you. It's just a process, but I want to show you the importance of a tech pack, my design process, and how I bring that all together. And now you see, as I have this as a layer, I could just move that whole layer. So we still got a lot of real estate here. I want to bring this airplane in over here. So I need to find something that will help fill that area up. And like I said, guys, research is what's going to make your products better. If you got a design team, you always see design teams sitting down. This is what I'm looking for right here. You see how that plane's in motion? I really like that. This is cool too, but I like this one. So let's download this. Save that. We're gonna open this once again. Boom. And then we're gonna image trace it for 16 colors. So we can just remove as much as possible. All right, cool, expand it. And this has some of the same colors in it, so we're gonna click the areas that we don't want. This, I think, will look cooler just being like one color. Pulling off of this gold. Yeah. And then what you can do is go to your pathfinders. And you can just make that a solid by clicking the first shape button. It's like 2 squares together. I'm gonna get rid of all this stuff that I don't need, because you remember, I just really want the plane. All right, good. So now we have this cool logo. We're gonna bring this back over into our thing. And now we're gonna create a new layer and drop that in. That's what's gonna be on the back. And then I'm even gonna have part of the wing sit over the red tails just to give it some more dynamic. I'm gonna click both of those layers because now I'm seeing like my real estate's being taken up. So I'm gonna drop that down. And then what you wanna do is I'm like, okay, it's more than red tails. How can I add something here? So I want to add a curve that says Tuskegee at the top. So a lot of times what people will do is they'll just type something out. So let's type out Tuskegee. They'll type out Tuskegee like this, and then they'll go to their arch in the effect, warp, and then they will just try to arc it, right? That does work sometimes, but there's sometimes that the shape doesn't really fit right. So you see, this isn't really like as clean of an arc. It actually does work though, but I want to show you guys a different way too. So if you copy and paste what you want the design to curve on, you can go to your text tool and click on the third one that says type on a path. Click on that path, type your word out. Sorry, phone call. All right, sorry about that. So we're back. So now I was typing my word out for the curve. I'm going to enlarge it, and then I'm going to place it right where I would like to see it. So now I've got that perfectly for the shape that it was going on. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to bring it over here, tilt it, and now it sits perfectly to the shape of that curve. So that's typing on a path right there. We'll make that red, bring that together. I always know that I want my products branded. So now what I'm going to do is bring in my company's logo, Historically Black Apparel, and I want to put it real nice on the sleeve because I always need people to know where they got this jacket from. And if you're having trouble with the logo, you can always get your logo on Fiverr or use one of my favorite design contests, which is hatchwise.com. I spent $100 on my logo, and they'll give you like 70 different options to choose from. So that's really good. But now you can see how this jacket is coming together. We've got the bomber jacket sleeves. We've got the chest plate, which is the main insignia. We've got not a slogan, but a call out that represents what I'm designing. Then now we've got this big design on the back, which is all going to be embroidery. And now let's get into another piece of branding, your size tags. So I'm just going to put a square in there, make that white, get my logo, copy and paste it, and then drag that over, which is going to show my designer that I need this to be branded with my logo on the inside. Very important to making premium products for sure. All right, guys. So now we have our design done. So you see this. Now we need to get into the technical part of it, the technical drawing. So what I like to do is just put a title at the top, and it's going to say Tuskegee Red Tails. I'm gonna make a cleaner font. Futura, one of my favorite fonts. This simple. It's gonna say Tuskegee Red Tails Bomber Jacket. Putting a title to this is very important because when you're working with overseas vendors, a lot of times, there's language barriers, and it's just an easy way to refer to the product that you are designing. Let's just use an impact font, something even simpler. All right, so I'm gonna put Tuskegee Red Tails Bomber Jacket. I'm gonna put winter 2022 right here for my season, so that I'm all done. And then I like to put a little square that's gonna say like my release date. I'll make that red, drop my opacity. And then the reason for the release date is I need the vendors to see the projected release date that this needs to be completed. So let's say February 1st, 2022. Well, let me type release date first. Release date. Because we want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Because a lot of times, guys, whether you're dealing with China, whoever you're dealing with, they're working, they're just working, but they need to understand when you need this product. So our release date is going to be for Black History Month 2/1/22. That way, when we send this off, everyone can see it. And then another good thing to do is brand this and just throw your logo. So I just copy and pasted my logo one more time, and I put that right there. So cool. This is kind of just letting the team know what's there. And the manufacturers, you know, they know what to do. They just need to see certain pieces. So now that this is done, let's create a brand new layer for our technical areas. And what I like to do is literally just get my shape tool and draw lines. And let's make sure that they stand out. So we're gonna make those red as well. And now I'm going to point towards, literally put it on top of the jacket, point towards the area and put 4 by 4 inch logo. And I'm gonna change the font from this so it doesn't match like my titles and stuff. I'm gonna go back to Futura and make it a little bit smaller. 4 by 4 inch logo embroidered. Getting these sizes and stuff right is super important because I remember one time I just guessed the size, and once I got the product, it was just extremely small and not to the size that I needed it to be. And what that resulted in was me paying more money for another sample, $120 for another sample that I did not have to pay. I'm gonna copy and paste this shape again. I'm gonna move it over here, copy and paste my words so that everything matches. And then I'm gonna say, this is gonna be 2 inches tall, 4 inches wide. So it's gonna be a 4 by 2 inch logo right there. Given those size dimensions, we're gonna copy that shape again. We're gonna touch on different areas. So I gotta touch on this area. And from my experience, I had a manufacturer who was embroidering the sleeve logo super huge, like it was a chest logo. So it's super important to also let them know, like, okay, because you think that they would just understand, you know, fashion, right? But not the case. So 2 by 2 inch logo. And then these logos, I'm gonna get sublimated because there's a lot of colors, a lot of logos. I wanna make those less intensive on my design process, or the production process, to bring my cost down. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller just so that we can, boom. And like I said, guys, if you don't know how to use Illustrator or Photoshop, it's cool. Just draw it out, send it off to get designed. Sublimated logos, 3 by 3. And then I'm gonna just draw to this area over here so that they understand. And I'm gonna say 4 sublimated logos, 3 by 3. Now on the back, under here, I'm just gonna say fully embroidered back with the size. And I know it's 12 inches wide, 13 inches tall, 12 by 13, fully embroidered back. I'm gonna make that red so that that stands out. You can use arrows also, guys, as well. These are just super easy for me to use. Let him know I want inside tag, woven label. Cool, cool, cool. All right, we got that there. Want him to not mess up, because, you know, like, it's little details like the gold zippers that I really want to just stand out and make this design pop. So you gotta let them know, because they'll send you some zippers that you were like, whoa, what made you choose these? So every detail is very important to make sure that you let them know. So now, guys, as you see, we have a completed technical drawing right here. Literally everything is outlined, everything makes sense. So when I send this off to my vendor, I use a lot of Pakistan vendors, it's clearly there. And then if they mess up, you can always go back to this and say, hey, what made you choose that size when I clearly said in the technical drawing, the tech pack, 4 by 4 or embroidery, and this really just helps out. So definitely do your technical pack. So now let's jump over to, if you don't have Photoshop or you don't know how to use the software and you drew it out, you could literally take this image right here, then go to Fiverr.com, and then once you go to Fiverr.com, type in tech pack. When you click on tech pack, what it's gonna do is show you all of these. So I will create a technical flat sketch in tech pack for $10. 475 star reviews. I would just go with them. I wouldn't spend too much money. Or you could do something a little bit more detailed, like this person who's gonna make a better tech pack than even I designed, but for between $20 and $60. A complete detailed tech pack. And a lot of times, guys, when you're thinking about services, don't think too expensive, because, you know, I'm spending $2,000-3,000 on actual inventory of a product, and $60 for a perfect tech pack, and for the actual product to not be right, that $60 is really nothing comparatively to wasting thousands of dollars if your product comes out wrong. Sizing is also very important, so make sure that you check out sizing and a size list and actually measure, because I've had many products where the sizes weren't to where they needed to be, and it was a customer service nightmare. So now what I want to show you guys is, you've seen like my process, how I come up with stuff. You've seen that research is very important when coming up with your design. You saw how we put something together with the sizing, the embroidery, sublimation, whatever it is. And now I can send that PD off to my vendors. So whether you're using Alibaba or you've already connected with them on WhatsApp, this is going to be very helpful in speeding up that process. And also what we're going to use Fiverr for as well. Let's jump back over to Fiverr. What you're going to see is when you need to get, you know, those production files done. So what I do is type in vector. I have a vendor that I usually always go to, but there's so many on here. So all of those drawings that I just had, literally I would click on this guy right here, pay them the $20. I have someone that's actually cheaper. This is what his thumbnail looks like right here. I spend $5 and then the Fiverr fee is $2, so $7. This guy right here always designs my designs. So once I send those off, they come back to me within, you know, less than 24 hours with the actual design that is now vectored. So when I click on this and I open it, it's now a vector design, which is what my suppliers need. Vector design means that all your lines are clean. You know, it can stretch without distorting, as you can see right there. Everything's still there. Easy to make a clean embroidery file. So thank you for tuning in with your boy Tony. And right before we leave, I want to show you guys the finished product. We got the sample back. So do you want to see the product? If so, hang with me for 1 second. Let's go. All right, so the package just got to the warehouse. Let's see how it looks. I've been talking to the suppliers. I'm super excited about checking this out. I just got the delivery notification that it's at the garage. So boom. Yep. It's the package right there. Oh yeah. Y'all can see it. Let's see it in action.